Imagine if I informed you that one Canadian law was recently passed. Might have a devastating effect on the U.S. economy, and a few states are already in danger of failing? This is not a hypothesis. It's true. The consequences have already started, and it's happening right now. From declining agricultural exports, facing unexpected layoffs in rural America, the consequences are spreading quickly. Here's the twist, though. The risk zone only includes a few states. Who will fall first then? Furthermore, why are officials rushing behind the scenes? Stay put, as this might be the most significant trade change of 2025 that you are unaware of. Number 5. California. Could Canada's new trade embargo cause California's dairy empire to collapse first? Despite producing more milk than any other state, the Golden State supremacy is currently under jeopardy. Canada was crucial to its billion-dollar export chain's ability to absorb excess. That door is securely closed. Oversupply is increasing. Prices are plummeting. And farmers are being compelled to discard milk that they are unable to sell. With nowhere to go, how can you manage millions of gallons? Will tiny family farms be able to withstand another assault like this one? Furthermore, the strain on large processing facilities that formerly prospered due to global demand. Some might soon close or fire employees. However, this may be the most significant issue. Who will come after California, the leader, if it begins to decline? The entire American dairy industry may be altered by the knock-on effect. Could this be the start of a far bigger collapse? Number 4. Wisconsin. Can a state that depends on milk and cheese endure when its largest consumer closes its doors? A stealthy storm is sweeping through Wisconsin. Dairy exports, once worth billions, are now stalled. Due to Canada's new trade rule, which prevents American goods from entering the market. Now stalled. Processing facilities are reducing their operations, affecting local cooperatives as well as huge facilities. Many small farms that have been in operation for decades are drowning in excess inventory that they are unable to move. Could the towns that these family farms support be affected if they fail? Schools, suppliers, and the flaws are already being seen by trucking companies. And given that prices are falling more quickly than everyone anticipated, how long until some producers just quit? Will Wisconsin's dairy dominance start to wane at this point? Or, before it's too late, will the state restructure its agricultural economy? The next course of action could determine the destiny of America's dairy land now that Canada is off the table. Number 3. Idaho. Could the dairy growth in Idaho be the catalyst for its entry? 2025. Idaho has been rapidly rising in the rankings for years, and it currently ranks 4th in the U.S. for milk output. However, with Canada closing its doors due to the new Bill C-202 trade regulation, Idaho's growth could go from a success to a disaster. The indications are difficult to ignore at the moment. The production of milk keeps increasing. In the absence of that vital Canadian demand, however, the excess has nowhere to go. Processing facilities are so full of product that they are unable to transport it quickly enough. In order to prevent storage tanks from overflowing, some cooperatives are subtly promoting the idea of dumping milk. Additionally, producers are seeing their margins disappear as raw milk prices decline. Is the billion-dollar dairy infrastructure in Idaho ready for such a disaster? Large cheese and powdered milk factories that were formerly thriving on Canadian orders are now shrinking. There are fewer trucks arriving. There are fewer shifts being filled. Additionally, whole workforces are being put on standby in several small communities. The worry that if the market doesn't recover, there will be permanent closures. However, this is not just about milk. Could Idaho's rural economy be hit hard by the economic shock? A thriving dairy industry is essential to maintenance teams, fuel haulers, and feed providers. Everyone suffers if the system slows down, from neighborhood eateries to truckers. What about the tiny family farms that recently made an expansion investment? New machinery, new barns, and new cows were all predicated on projections assuming steady export demand. Now that the Canadian market is closed, those debts appear much riskier. Can Idaho find new buyers before things get out of control? Or are we witnessing the start of a slow-motion collapse? Post your opinions in the comments section. Do you believe Idaho can avoid the consequences? Or is this catastrophe only beginning? Furthermore, if you haven't already, click like and subscribe. You must see more after this. Number 2. New York is one of the oldest dairy states in America, quietly on the verge of collapse in the modern era. Long renowned for producing top-notch milk, cheese, and yogurt, New York is suffering as a result of Canada's abrupt trade ban. And the fissures are already beginning to appear. At the beginning of 2025, New York's milk production increased dramatically to more than 1.36 billion pounds. However, stock is rapidly building up as Canada isn't receiving its regular imports. A year ago, it was unheard of for processors to scale down their intake and for some farmers to be instructed to halt production. In the meantime, the already extremely narrow margins that the majority of manufacturers work on are being eroded by falling pricing. Could this become a persistent issue for family farmers in New York? Numerous of these processes rely on steady volume and steady sales in need to survive. They must make difficult decisions, cut back on herd sizes, take on additional debt, or think about closing down completely as a result of the abrupt loss of one of their most dependable customers. However, the tale doesn't stop at the farm. What impact will this have on the dairy-dependent upstate economy? From nearby trucks transporting unprocessed milk to rural communities with establishments serving agricultural laborers, schools and communities centered on the dairy belt are already experiencing declining finances and increased anxiety as everyone braces for a slump. Additionally, New York's processing facilities, particularly those that specialize in export-grade cheeses and yogurts, are at risk. Will their production models need to change? Or, as shelves overflow with unsold inventory, will we begin to witness closures and layoffs? Is it accurate to state that the dairy system in New York is currently at risk from all sides? Or is there still an opportunity to change course before the harm is irreparable? Number 1. Texas. Texas. Could the rapid expansion of the dairy industry in the Lanier state be the factor pulling it down in 2025? Texas has quickly risen to the top of the milk production rankings in the United States. However, the timing couldn't be worse as that momentum meets Canada's trade shutdown head-on. Among the top 5 milk-producing states, Texas had the largest growth in dairy production last year. You watched it till the end. Now join the fam. Subscribe.